Welcome to Behind the Black Curtain, an inspiring podcast that follows the story of Nikki Rowland's incredible journey. Join Nikki as she inspires other single women and single moms to be courageous and continue to persevere through their own life journey. Together, we will learn from Nikki's success and struggles as we create a tribe of women committed to finding freedom from their past, purpose in their present, and unlocking the potential for the future. Welcome to Behind the Black Curtain.
Hey babes, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Black Curtain. I am your host, Nikki Rowland, and really quickly, if this is your first time hearing my voice, if this is your first time checking out my podcast, I just want to take the time to welcome you to Behind the Black Curtain, a podcast that was birthed during a time in my life where I felt I had hit rock bottom yet again. And with that, I decided to take my story of that present situation with everything that I've gone through in my past and share it with you guys in hopes that it empowers you, inspires you, it motivates you to continue to move forward in whatever it is that you're currently going through in life, whatever it is that you're currently experiencing, whatever it is that you are fighting for. So with that being said, let's get into today's episode. And in this podcast episode, I want to talk about what happens when God doesn't answer our prayers. Of course, I'm going to share with you personal stories of mine, but I also want to incorporate the topic of chaos and order and what that looks like, because these are natural factors in our lives. Chaos is when we're dealing with the unknown or something doesn't go as planned. And order is when we are in familiar territory and things go as planned. I want to talk to you guys about how it's important that we find a balance with the two, because we can have chaos and order exist at the same time. And that can look like prayers going unanswered and us not knowing why and feeling lost about it, but also appreciating all that we have in this current moment. So what made me come up with this topic? Well, I believe it was about a week ago. I was speaking to someone. We were messaging back and forth, and I was telling this person about how I be getting tired, okay? Because I'm just like trying to figure out life day by day and just going through the process that God has me going through and doing all the things that I believe God is calling me to do, which one of them is this podcast. But I was talking to him about the fact that I do the things that I believe God is telling me to do, and I do them to the best of my ability, not expecting anything back. I'm doing it because I believe this is what God is calling me to do for whatever his reason is, right? But I'm also experiencing the fact that I go to God in prayer because I am a believer, and there are certain prayers that I've been saying for about 3 years now. And how do I know it's been about 3 years? Because your girl likes to journal. I have tons of journals throughout the years. I love to write. I write my thoughts almost every day. And there are particular prayers that I will write out, and I was going through my journals and just like flipping through them, and I started seeing that, like, okay, this is 2022, 2021, 2020. Yo, why am I still saying the same prayers? And it triggered me. It actually broke my heart, if I can be honest with you guys. It broke my heart to see that it's been about 3 years and it's the same prayers. And I'm not going to go into detail of what these prayers are specifically, but I will say that these are not prayers where I'm asking for outlandish things. These are not prayers where I'm asking for selfish things. These are prayers that I believe as a child of God, or I know as a child of God, I am deserving of, right? Because these are the things that I am asking for are things that are necessary. These are necessities. And I was telling this person, I said, I say these prayers, and I realize what happened is, instead of the newer version of whatever I asked for, or the better version of whatever I asked for, instead of me getting that, what I currently had was completely taken away. And I said to him, I don't understand. I don't understand this process. But there's something in me that refuses to allow me to stop believing. There is something in me that refuses to allow me to give up or believe that it will never happen for me. I can't tell y'all what that something is. Maybe it's just the fact that I have such a deep-rooted relationship with God that I am still trusting him to come through for me. Although all this stuff that's going on around me looks crazy and chaotic, the order in that is the fact that I know that he never fails me. And so even with the chaos and even with the things being taken away from me and I don't understand why, I have always been safe. I have always been provided for. Everything that I've needed has always been there. My health has always remained optimal, and everything has always turned out okay for me. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what it looks like when we have these unanswered prayers. Because at the time when I was looking through the journal and I realized like, okay, this I've been praying for, and baby, I don't even have anything close to it at this point. When I started praying for this particular thing, I was in the area of being close to it, right? Like I was in that category. Now I'm way off. Like I'm not even close to that. And so when I was looking at that, I'm like, yo, it made me sad. It actually broke my heart. And I believe I had a couple moments where I actually cried because I'm like, God, what tell me what I'm doing wrong. I'm not praying selfish prayers. I'm not asking for selfish things. I pray for other people. I believe, I do the work. I treat people the way I want to be treated. I am there for people a lot of times more than I am there for myself. So God, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Like, what am I missing here? It causes confusion. You know, if you've ever been in a state where you've been praying and you're like, I don't understand why my prayers aren't being answered. It can cause confusion. It can cause frustration. And it can cause us to sometimes start feeling like, you know what is the point? What is the point of this? And this is something that I said to him. I said, I had gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm not even going to pray for this anymore. I'm not going to ask because God knows that it's something that I need. And for whatever reason, he's not giving it to me. So I'm just going to receive that it's just not my time. And I'm not going to keep praying for it because when you pray, it means that you have some form of belief that your prayer is going to be answered, right? And when you have some form of belief that it's going to be answered, that takes your hope up. It causes you to have hope. And when the prayer doesn't get answered, it hurts. You lose hope. It makes you sick. It makes you weary. It causes confusion. And so I told him, I'd rather just focus on, I guess, going through the motion of what I know I need to do day to day, and what shall be will be. Now, I just gave you guys the example of chaos or what chaos looks like when our prayers are unanswered. But as I stated before, chaos and order can exist at the same time. So although I was experiencing this chaos of I don't understand why these needs that I'm asking for are not being met, or even when I started this podcast, the chaos that I was going through, the fact that I had lost my home, my car, my job, I had lost everything. That is chaotic, right? That is me being in a situation of the unknown. I don't even know what to expect at this point. Like everything that was planned, everything that I thought was going well, just all of a sudden came to a halt and just completely fell off. My hands were pried open and I had to release every single thing. That was chaos. But what does order look like when it's coexisting with chaos? Order is when we are in familiar territory and things go as planned, right? So although those things were not going as planned for me, God did put me in familiar territory, right? And he did put me in a place where I was able to be taken care of and helped by someone that I do know, that I am familiar with. The order looked like me losing my own place, but now being put in a place where I didn't even have to worry about paying bills. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to eat. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to get my kids to school. All of that was taken care of for me. That's where the order was coexisting. So although I was in pain because I had lost so much and I just didn't understand why any of this was happening for me, the order looked like, girl, you are still being taken care of. While I am saying this, I want you guys to think about whatever your own situation is that you're going through that seems chaotic and it seems like everything is falling apart, or your prayers are being unanswered and you need this, like whatever you're praying for right now, like, God, I need this right now. But instead of it being answered, or instead of it being granted to you, it seems like the little that you did have is now being snatched away. I need you to take a step back and pause. Be still for a moment and focus on what the order is. What is in order for you right now? What is actually going right for you right now? What is actually being provided for you right now? Because although I keep saying like my prayers have not been answered, the prayers are being answered regardless. They're being answered regardless of how the answer is coming. So for me, the prayers being answered would have been, I would have gotten what I asked for. Right? I would have gotten something better than what I currently had, and I was praying for the better. That's the answer to me. But even when we don't get what we're asking for at that moment, at that time, even when the little that you had, that you were praying for an expansion on, is being ripped away, that is an answer, right? That is an answer. It just looks chaotic because it makes absolutely no sense to you. Like, if I'm asking for this, why are you taking me backwards? Why are you taking away everything I have, right? But that's an answer. And it's not until we reach the end of whatever that journey is that he's taken us through will we understand why we had to go that way, why we had to do that huge detour, why we had to go back and then come back around to get the blessing. Because at the end of the day, what I'm realizing is, because I know God so well, because I've had a relationship with him for so long, because I've gone through so many trials and tribulation, and he's brought me out every single time, and not only brought me out, but brought me to better. Because I know all of that, because I can pull from my past experiences, I know that these prayers that I've been saying for the past 3 years are going to be answered. Now, at first, when I looked at my journal and I realized, like, yo, wait a minute now, why am I praying for these basic things that you're not even giving me? When I first saw that, I didn't have the mindset that I have right now. Like, hold on, sis, just chill for a moment. Because he's obviously doing something that I can't see yet. I don't know yet. But because I know him, because I have a relationship with him, because of the history that I have, I know that he's never left me nor forsaken me. I've always been taken care of. Always. And because of that, I know that the answers are coming. They're coming, and I honestly feel like they're coming soon. But I had to let go of my grip on how my answers were going to come and how my blessings were going to come through, or the timing of my blessing. I don't have control of that. And me being a person that loves to feel like I have control over situations and how things play out, it is hard. It is a challenge, or it has been a challenge for me to get to the point where I'm like, I just release it. I don't know what your timeline is, God. I don't really understand this. What I do see is that you've provided for me this entire time. Maybe I was more focused on the pain and what was going wrong instead of being focused on what was going right and how I was actually okay. But right now, I've come to the point, I've grown, y'all. And I've matured to the point where I realize, like, it's not about what I've lost. It's not about what's going wrong, but it's about what's going right and what you're doing for me in the season and what you're trying to show me. And this is something that I want you guys to realize as well. If you're going through a chaotic moment in your life, there is order there as well. So what is the order? What is in order for you right now that you're actually not even paying attention to because you're so caught up in the chaos? You're so caught up in what's not right for you. Something that I've been practicing lately is staying in the moment, being in the moment. Because if y'all could be in my head, oh my gosh, I sometimes feel like I have ADHD. Like, I'm not even I'm laughing, but I'm serious. My thoughts be boom, like bouncing from one thing to the next. And I'm thinking about what happened, and I'm thinking about what's going to happen next in the future. But most of the time, I'm not in the moment. I'm not being still and being like, oh girl, you're actually okay right now. I'm either freaking out about what happened in the past, or I'm stressed about what could go wrong in the future, or what if. And so I've recently been focused on practicing being still and staying in the moment. And for me, that looks like meditation. And I know for each of us, when we practice meditation, it can look different. For some of us, we're actually paying attention to the thoughts that come through, because a lot of times we don't pay attention. We're just bouncing from one thing to the next. For some of us, we're just trying to empty our mind completely and being still. For some of us, we're trying to hear from God, or we're chanting certain things. It's different for each person. And I had to find what worked for me. And so for me, my meditation looks like me setting an alarm for 10 minutes, and I'm going to be still. What I first start doing is I focus on what my body feels like. And what I've been learning with this process is that I hold a lot of tension in my body. Like, I am usually tensed up. I look like I'm relaxed, but when I start scanning my body, my quads are tight when I'm sitting, like I'm scrunched up, or my fist is balled up, or I can feel the tension in my jaw. And so at the beginning of the meditation practice, I take the time to just scan my body from head to toe. Are my eyes squinted? Are my brows knit up? Am I clenching down on my jaw? If I feel any of these things, I allow myself to release, to relax. And I just go down to my arms and my hands. And are my hands relaxed, or are they kind of curled up into a ball? Are my legs relaxed, or are my quads tensed up? Are my toes tensed up? And I allow myself to breathe in and breathe out slowly. And every time I do that breath work, I let my body relax a little bit more. And then I get into the mode of, okay, let's just chill. We're just going to sit right here. I have my eyes closed when I do this, and I just sit. And I allow my thoughts to flow at first, okay? And I start realizing certain things that are recurring, certain thoughts that are recurring. So I'm like, okay, so that low-key was bothering me and I didn't even realize it. Check. I'm gonna check on that later after I get out of this meditation. And then at some point, I get the thoughts to stop, and I just want stillness. I want it to be quiet. And I'm paying attention to the sounds that are around me, but I am in the moment versus thinking about what's next, or what happened, or what could have been, or what do I need to do next. Like, sit in this moment. And I have been doing this for the past month now. And I have to be honest with you guys, in the beginning, it was a little challenging. I'm like, I don't even know if I can make it through this 10 minutes because I feel like I need to get up and go do something right now. But now I'm to the point where I look forward to this because I get to be with me. I get to stop everything and just focus on me. What is going on with you right now? And with me being able to do that, I'm more able to focus on the things that are going right and showing more gratitude and being more mindful. And it's just such a powerful tool. I started with 10 minutes because, like I told you guys, my mind be all over the place. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to train myself to at least do 10 minutes. I can do that. And then from there, I'll start to slowly build up. But this is a practice that I wanted to share with you so that you can incorporate it into your day, especially if you are going through a season in life where things just seem chaotic for you. And again, chaos and order can and do coexist. So although things may seem like it's out of pocket, it is in disarray, you don't understand what's going on, this is unfamiliar, this is not how I planned my life to be or how things to go in this season, I want you to figure out what is the order, what is actually happening for you right now that is going right, that is familiar, that is working out for your good, and start focusing on that. Okay, so as I wrap up today's episode, I just want to leave you guys with this thought. And the thought is that it's okay to not have all the answers. It is absolutely okay to not have all the answers. And I just want to emphasize the importance that we embrace the beauty of the unknown and just have faith that everything happens for a reason, even if we can't see it at the moment. I want to encourage you guys to appreciate the present moment, despite the unanswered prayers or the chaos that may surround you. because at the end of the day, everything works out for the good of those who love the Lord. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on this exploration of unanswered prayers and figuring out the balance between chaos and order. Just remember, life is a journey, y'all, and it's filled with twists and turns. But by finding a balance and appreciating the blessings that we have, we can navigate through the chaos with grace and resilience. So until next time, take care and keep embracing the dance of chaos and order in your own lives. I love y'all. Oh, and of course, I can't leave you without a scripture. And today's scripture is, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose." And this is the King James Version of Romans 8:28. Stay blessed, y'all.